YouTube, I am back and I wanted to make a video today all about my experience moving to America and the things that I wish I knew before I moved here. The reason that I wanted to make this video is because, to be honest, I just wish that I had a video like this before I came to America because it would have been so helpful. There are so many new things that you have to learn and adapt to when you go to a new country, and so yeah, hopefully this just helps someone out there, especially someone that's considering moving to the States for a college degree or just to study, or even just to study abroad. Also, I found it fitting that I was wearing this United States Navy sweatsuit today. I literally wear this all the time. My husband found it at like a thrift store forever ago and it's like so comfy. Anyway, okay, so I thought I would like categorize the differences into like three kind of groups, like the social differences, the educational differences, and then the economic differences. It feels like I'm writing a school paper. But I don't know, I think this will just help me like organize things. Before I say anything as well, I do want to preface this with saying like, coming to America for me was like the best thing I could have done for my life because it opened up so many new doors and new opportunities. I think it like helped me grow in ways that I couldn't have grown if I had just stayed in my hometown my whole life. I also met like some of my absolute best friends here. I obviously met my husband here. So I'm so grateful I came here. I think you have to first think of like the reasons you want to come to America and why it might like fit you best, because if you come here and then realize you hate it, I mean, you can always go back, but I don't know, just think for a while, stew on that thought before you like jump over the pond to come here, wherever you're coming from. So the first thing I would say is understanding that no matter where you come from, there is going to be a massive cultural shift when you come to America. What I mean by this is like the words you say will be different. I know that I might speak the same language as Americans, but there is a big difference between the American English and English. So I can't even imagine what it would be like for someone to come from like a country where they don't speak English at all and come here. I think that would honestly be really hard. I feel like when I first moved here, people would just like laugh or like be confused at what I would say because I was just speaking how I spoke back home. And so I think sadly over time I've just removed a lot of like English vocabulary out of my language because it just got annoying honestly for people to be like, wait what? I just think like be prepared for a cultural shift. And this is coming from someone who, my family, like we visited America and went on holidays here growing up. So I knew what it was like, but living here is different. Just because, yeah, you're around people who think differently from you and think that maybe things you do are like kind of weird or don't make sense to them, even if it makes perfect sense to you. And I think when I first moved here, that would like kind of frustrate me and I was like, why doesn't anyone understand me? But I think if I look back now, I wish I had just like given myself a bit more grace and looked at things from other people's point of views and recognized that I am a visitor in their country. And so you can definitely like hold on to those things that make you British or make you Japanese or make you whatever country you're from, you know, but just recognize like you're the visitor in their country, just like how you would want someone to be understanding of your culture if they came to your country. So many things though culturally were different for me, like even the dress code, which is so funny because right now I'm obviously wearing sweats. But I remember like growing up, I felt like you needed to kind of, you know, dress up a little bit when you went out, even if it was just to the shops or things like that. But at least here where I'm at it's a very like chill culture, I would say. Like people don't care if you go out in sweats or even like your pajamas to the shops. Like that's like a very normal thing, I feel like, which you just wouldn't fly in England. So just kind of be prepared for that. Another thing I remember was also like growing up in high school, everyone would have like handbags. Like you just have a handbag going to school, you know what I mean? But in America, everyone has backpacks. And in England, backpacks were seen as like a very nerdy thing. Like no one really had a backpack. But I remember the first few months, I'd always have a handbag and people would be like, isn't that uncomfortable? And I'd be like, well, yeah, but like, it's just the way it is, you know? And they'd be like, why? Like, I don't know, they were kind of like, why have you got a handbag? Why not get a backpack? So I don't know, if I look back, I wish I had like just held on to the things that made me rather than like shift and change for another culture, because I think that like, you know, people's differences are what makes places great. I don't know, I just wish I held on to those things a little bit more. Oh, this is such a hard video for me to make because I feel like I could literally spend an hour talking about this subject and still not even cover the surface because there's just so much. And I'm trying to remember also what I experienced like 7 years ago. So when you first move to a new country like America, it's really important to have kind of a plan in mind for what you're gonna do with things like having a phone plan and a bank account and a social security number so you can like get a job. Finances work different here. Perfect story to explain that is I remember when I first got a debit card when I moved here so that I could buy things, and I remember I went to Walmart and did like my first grocery shop, and I went to like go through the checkout and the cashier guy was like, oh, do you want cash back? And I was like, cash back? He was like, yeah, do you want cash back? And I was like, sure. I didn't know what that meant. I thought like we literally got cash back for maybe spending or something. And he was like, how much do you want? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, you can get $100 out if you want. And I was like, $100? Sure, I'll take $100. So he gave me $100. And I literally thought I was getting $100 for free. Like, I thought I was getting cash back for being like a good customer. It didn't make any sense in my mind because I probably only spent like $20. But later when I saw my bank account and saw that I had $100 less, I was like, that's what cash back means. So I just had so many experiences like that were just like confusing to me, and I had to figure it out on my own. So I would just say like having a mentor or someone that can kind of like teach you those things is really important. So I would always ask my American friends and roommates and like older adults questions. So it wouldn't be confusing. In terms of finances as well, I really feel for like international students because I kind of experienced what it was like going throughout your years of college, kind of being confined to a box, because as an international student, they do make it kind of tough earning money. You can't just go out and get whatever job you want. After your first year of being a student in America, you can then go on to getting an internship, but that internship has to be directly to do your major. So I had to get something film related, which I was able to get, which was great. But that can often be hard to do because, yeah, like I said, you can't just go out and get whatever job you want. You can't go and be like a waitress down the street. That's like literally illegal and against your visa. So that's just like really important to know because little mistakes like that can get you deported, and you don't want to get deported because then you're screwed. So it is tough, but I would say the biggest thing that like saved me was getting internships, paid internships, because you get paid more than the $10 an hour job that you'd find on campus. The thing about America though that I do love is I'm kind of out of that bubble now, obviously, of being a student now that I'm married and I have a green card and went through all of that process. It makes it so much easier now to do my own work. So as I've mentioned before in other videos, my husband and I have our own video company, and I just feel like the opportunities in America really are like so great, especially for some reason here in Utah. People are just like very connected, and I feel like they really want to help you out and help you get going. And so I don't know, it's just a great place to be, I would say, for business purposes, because you can really like create your own opportunities, I feel like. And I've yet to like really test that out in England, but I'll be curious how it is, hopefully, when we go there at some point in the future, to like see how it works. But I do love that about America, and I really think that you can create those opportunities for yourself. And even as a student, even if they're not paid, there are so many opportunities there for you to just like grow and excel. And obviously you're here just to study, so just take advantage of those opportunities, take advantage of those experiences that will help you like grow and learn as a person, especially in the field that you're studying and that you want to pursue. I feel like kind of tied into finances a little bit is healthcare, which I could go on about for a very long time, but I won't, because coming from the NHS, which I love so much, that's the National Healthcare Service that we get in England. You basically get everything paid for, and it's great, and I love it, and I'll die on my hill for the NHS. It is so different in America. You gotta understand, healthcare is sadly a business here. So healthcare can be very expensive, especially if you do have health problems, I would say. So just finding a health plan that works for you. There are a lot of different options. The university that I went to kind of had a set plan. Even in my opinion, that plan was expensive, especially because I'm someone that like never really went to the doctors or never had any major health concerns. I have so much to say on it, but I won't. But it can be very frustrating, and it's honestly taken me, I'm still like getting used to it, and it can still be very frustrating. And you have to ask Izzy, but every single time, even now, when we're just going to like get an eye checkup or go to the dentist or things like that, I call my insurance and have them clarify like everything for me, because it's just confusing. And I feel like, honestly, sadly, it's purposefully confusing because, like I said, it's kind of a money-making thing. And so the healthcare system here is just, it is frustrating, but that is one of the things. If you come here, you just have to accept that. Obviously, you probably can't change much. So you just have to be willing to accept that and understand what's before you. But like I said, there are health plans and stuff that you can get. It's just one of those things. This is one of my biggest, like most practical things, I would say, is really, really understand the visa requirements for you to stay here. It's really sad, obviously, when you hear about people getting deported and things like that. And the crazy thing is, it's not even for like big things. It's not like you have to go rob a bank or something here to get deported, but it can just be like silly, smaller mistakes. Like if you're working at a job that you were allowed to do on your visa, but you work like a week or two after the deadline on your visa, that kind of thing can actually get you deported. They're really, really strict about like making sure that you stick to your visa requirements, because they want to know that you came here to study and for no other intentions, and you breaking that is like a big no-no in the eyes of the government. So yeah, just really make sure like you read those requirements through and understand like what you're signing up for. Also, like, okay, this is a mistake I made, but one of my first jobs when I went to university, they always take cuts out of your paycheck, and I thought, and I knew that was for tax purposes or whatever, and I thought in my head, I was like, oh, they like do taxes for you, because I'd never filed for taxes here or anything like that. I just didn't understand how it worked. And when tax season rolled around, I thought, well, they've already taken that cut out, so I shouldn't have to file them or anything. I don't know, it just made sense in my head at the time. But basically, after a conversation with my friend, like a few months in, I then realised actually that I needed to do my taxes and I owe the government money. And that was just a mistake I made. So don't make that mistake. Learn from my mistake. Also, I need to change my battery because it's about to die. So just give me 2 seconds. Okay, the battery's changed. So when I came to America and went to BYU, I didn't understand the education system. All I ever knew, obviously, was the England education system, which I really liked because, especially with like GCSEs and sixth form, you just narrow your subjects down until you get into like the specifics of each subject and go really deep into that. And then obviously university's the same, you just study that one subject the whole time you're there. I didn't really understand generals and until I got here, and then I realised I had to do all these subjects that I like wasn't interested in whatsoever, because I really have been one of those people that's known I've wanted to do video creation since I was like 11 years old. So when I was doing like biology or maths, I was like, oh my goodness, why am I doing this? Yeah, I would just say like know what you're signing up for. Know that you are going to have to do general studies, and that you are going to have to do those subjects that might not intrigue you the most, but that's just part of the system and that's how things run. But for me, the experiences I got like in film school were actually way worth it. Like I've learned so much. And it's funny because I feel like when I graduated, I was like, yay, I have my film degree, whatever, moving on with life. But I feel like weirdly, the longer time has gone on, the more I actually appreciate my degree, because I've seen like really practical ways of how I've used it in my life, especially as I've continued to do film, and just other things like learning just how to like balance your life and things that university really teaches you. For BYU, if you're like a person that's considering the school that I went to, I actually loved the teachers and the professors, because for the most part you can tell that they really cared about you and they were really invested in your future. I really felt like a lot of my teachers became my friend. Oh, this is something that's different. Okay, so you remember if you're coming from England, this is more specific to England, but if you're coming from England, remember in sixth form how it felt like a lot of coursework and then exams? At least with the subjects I studied, I felt like it was like 70% coursework and then like 30% exams. I feel like here it was way more heavily focused on exams, which for me wasn't the best, because I'm way better with like coursework and doing projects over a longer period of time rather than like a tiny exam. And so that was something that I had to get used to, because yeah, it's just different. It's just different. The time it takes to finish your degree here is also different. And that's because of generals. Because of generals, it takes like 3.5, 4.5 years sometimes to get your degree, depending on what your degree is. Mine was film studies, and so I think total time it took me was 3.5 years, but I served a mission in between that, so that's why it was like extended. But yeah, that also is affected because of generals. So obviously if you're studying in England, it's just a shorter amount of time. So I remember like all my friends from high school graduated university like way sooner than I did. And that's because of a mission and just general studies. So that's just something to keep in mind. Overall, I really did love my education here, and I feel like it was way worth it for just the things I've wanted to do in life. So I would say as well, if you're looking to study film, you do not have to get a film degree. Like, that's not a necessity. But for me, it was worth it to be able to come to America and take advantage of the opportunities that were here and meet amazing people and just get experiences like that I couldn't get otherwise. And I have used my film degree a lot, to be honest, like especially because my focus was in documentary, and I really understood like the arc of a story and how to tell that. And so I'm really grateful that I did it, but I don't think it's necessary if that's what you want to go into. You can really learn through experience and just like mentors and other things like that. So I hope this video was helpful to at least a few people out there. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. Because I know I had just so many questions when I was coming to America. And yeah, this was just like the tip of the iceberg, like I said, but hopefully it's helpful to someone out there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.